I have kids are on TikTok, adults are on blood pressure medication.
It is truly a nightmare.
Can we turn these cameras off, please?
The ancient art of comedy. Hearing people laugh at something you came up with is one of the most universally beloved and exhilarating feelings a person can experience, akin to achieving nirvana. So let's do a little experiment. A couple of comedy professionals versus a couple of schoolyard bards. Who can write the funniest jokes?
My name is Wilson McDermut. I am a psychology professor at St. John's University, and I'm also a stand-up comic. I taught a class on the psychology of humor, published a couple of things on humor and personality. Knowing the psychology of humor, unfortunately, doesn't make me a better stand-up comic.
My name's Michael Salgarolo. I'm a comedian and a PhD candidate in history. The humor of one generation doesn't necessarily make sense to the next generation. Comedians have similar experiences over time, present the world in a new and interesting light.
My name is Mayersohn, and I am a comedy writer. I've been writing comedy since elementary school. Right now I'm unemployed, so it's a lot of just self-doubt and being sad and hopefully writing jokes.
The dumbest jokes make me laugh. If somebody would actually tell a funny joke, I'll just be like, okay, like, ha, 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 ha. And then if somebody would just tell, like, what do you call a tree? A tree. It's just like something like that, just something like dumb. That would make me laugh.
I feel like that's when it's most funny, when you're not like trying to be so funny, it just like comes out and it's natural.
I auditioned for a lot of funny roles. The comedy business would be like the most, like the business that I would want to really be in.
Well, I like dark humor, like cannibalism.
Today's experiment will take place at Caveat, a comedy club on the Lower East Side with an unusual goal. Any show you see here will make you think as hard as it makes you laugh. The founders are a theoretical physicist and a Shakespeare director. They met doing science talks in the back room of a bar and teamed up to create a home for nerds who would rather come out for a comedy show than stay in watching TED Talks all night. Again. Today, they're going to help us put on a show of our own. Each team will have 1 hour to create a handful of different jokes, and then our neutral stand-up comic will perform both sets for our audience, who won't know which jokes belong to which team. Most laughs win. Let's go.
So we need a knock-knock joke, why did the blank cross the road joke, a joke about a historical figure, pun about an animal, joke about science, an anti-joke.
Oh, hey, what about a historical figure? I think we're going to lean on you.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll get on that.
Personal stories are the best, like, comedic
Jokes,
approach.
yeah.
That people can relate to, that are actually
you know
funny.
what happened.
So like when you're walking in the street and you get eaten by a cat.
No.
You know what's interesting is that the first joke that everyone learns as children is an anti-joke. Why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? It's the exact opposite of what a joke should be.
Right.
Everybody just write down your jokes and we'll tell them at the end, all right?
We all list and just go through and try to write a couple of each ourselves, and then come back and
Yeah.
figure.
In about 15 minutes, we
Yeah.
can.
That sounds good. Okay.
That's perfect.
Laughter, it's vocal, but it's not verbal, which means in prelingual times it served a communication function, and that function at that time was to signal, hey, we're not under threat, we can actually relax. Developmentally, laughter is the second form of social communication that emerges. So in infants, the first one obviously is crying, which is meant to communicate distress and hunger. The second one is laughter, and it serves a bonding function. When infants are bonded to their parents, obviously that has very powerful survival value.
Let's see.
Okay.
When Isaac Newton discovered gravity, did he get a concussion? Something like that, like the
Take your time, take your time.
Oh, okay. It must be a pretty light snack.
All right,
yeah,
that's
that's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's actually really
All right, that's such a good.
I've been having dark thoughts recently. My therapist assures me, though, it's normal to contemplate grad school.
What's a shoe salesman's favorite animal?
What?
Crocs.
Oh, yeah. Why does the cake have antlers?
Why?
It's a chocolate mousse.
Oh.
Strong on puns.
Puns are our strong suit.
Okay, if it was soda, it would flat. It would just be flat.
This joke fell flat.
What's the difference between a microscope and a telescope?
Oh, you can only use one to spy on your neighbor. Or something like that, or
Maybe it needs parallel structure. So it's one you use to look at bacteria, the other you use to look at your neighbors.
All right, the math teacher's good with math. Gym teacher, not athletic.
the next victim of cancel culture, my Audible subscription.
America's first stand-up comedian was a guy that I've read a transcript of his whole act. I can't understand any of it, but it was in the 1860s. It was a guy named Artemus Ward, and he called it a comedic lecture. And people were very confused at the beginning. It was theater, but with no characters and no costume. But that guy inspired Mark Twain, one of America's first well-known comedians.
Before their time is up, each team will have a few minutes to workshop jokes with our comic, Jessica.
Hi guys, how are you? How are we working?
Good.
We might need a plumber because the government went down the drain.
Okay,
This is a story for my sister. So we put it in the other person's milk, then dumped it in the person's milk, and then the person just threw it out.
I'm confused. The hot dog was a straw?
No, the hot dog was literally just a hot dog.
Okay, the term misdirection, so you want to say one thing, two thing, and then the third thing is the punchline. Practice a rule of three.
How many middle school teachers does it take to screw in a light bulb? 2. One to screw it in and the other to tell you to sit down and be quiet. Maybe it's something more like one to screw it in and the other to tell you to make a diorama of Washington crossing the Delaware or something.
Right, something more middle school specific.
Right.
Not just screw it in, and another
To tell you to put some deodorant on.
That's what I mean, like.
Without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Jessica Saul.
Thank you guys so much for having me. We'll start off here. Let's see. What happened when the grape got pinched? Nothing. He just let out a little wine. What's the difference between a microscope and a telescope? A microscope is used to look at bacteria, and a telescope is used to look at your neighbors. You guys know what a shoe salesman, what their favorite animal is? Crocs. Isaac Newton discovered gravity. Did he eat the apple? If he did, must have been just a light snack. What's the difference between a boy and a man? One is a child, one pays child support. How do we fix a broken government? With a plumber, because our government has gone down the drain. Why did the chicken cross the road? It was leaving KFC. Owie! Why did the fart cross the road? To get to the gas station.
This one's a farter, he looked away. This one's got a lot of gas.
How many middle school teachers does it take to screw in a light bulb? 2. One to screw in the light bulb, and the other to say, it's okay, your body is experiencing changes right now. Here's a CVS coupon I have to go buy some deodorant. Also tucking it. Okay, a math teacher is good at algebra, a science teacher is good at atoms, and a gym teacher is good at failing at their athletic dreams. I see we have some retired gym teachers here.
Could we actually have all of our writers on stage? I just want to say, amazing job, both teams. We were using a laugh-o-meter that whole time to see who the true winner is, and I gotta say this was very, very close. It was the adults.
The adults are probably more relatable because, as I can see, there's probably actually all of these people are adults. So it was a little unfair.
We would like to confirm we recognize that this was unfair, and we're fine with it.